This stick person that I'm drawing maybe seem oversimplified and a little silly, but it was actually created by Dr. Thurman Fleet in 1934. And the reason that he created it was he was working with young doctors, and he was trying to get them to conceptualize so that they could actually work with how the mind worked psychologically with the body. But every time he did it, they had a picture of the brain in their head, and it wasn't working for what he was trying to accomplish. So he created this. It's broken into three parts. You have the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and then you have the body. Okay, really quick. The conscious mind has the ability to think, reason. It has the ability to think and reason. It has the ability to accept or reject, and it has the ability to imagine, like we can build images in our conscious mind, and we have the ability to choose. Write choose down right in front of you, write choice, circle it, and write this. That is your greatest power. A human being's greatest power is our conscious ability to choose. It's what separates us from all the little animals in nature, and it allows you to literally not only create and design your life the way that you want it, but create anything that you want because you have the ability to choose. That is a conscious intellectual faculty that no other life form that we're aware of has, okay? Remember that, because the idea as you go through this is that you make decisions from that place of understanding of power, that it is your greatest power. If you don't think that you can choose something or that you're in that power place, you abdicate your power to another person or another thing. And you believe that they need to change or the situation needs to change in order for you to get the result that you want. And that's absolutely not true. That's our conscious mind. The subconscious mind is different, but it works in tandem with the conscious mind. So the subconscious mind cannot think, it cannot choose, okay? It cannot think, it cannot choose, it cannot reject, it can only accept. And anything that is firmly planted in a repetition in the conscious mind becomes a belief, it becomes fixed, and it becomes a habitual way of thinking, feeling, and acting. So anything that actually gets roots into the subconscious mind, you begin to act on with and through the third part, which is your body that takes actions, okay? So if you want to change anything once you become an adult, you literally have to reprogram your subconscious mind so that you don't need to think about the thing that you're changing, but you need to do it long enough so that it becomes a habit and it literally becomes a way of being and living in your life. Because the subconscious mind cannot reject, this is something that's extraordinarily interesting. Prior to the age of 7, the mind, this picture, looks like this. We don't have a conscious mind developed yet. Our conscious mind, with those faculties, doesn't really start developing until about the age of 7 years old. And it doesn't stop developing until we're in our early 20s. Women develop a little bit earlier. They finish developing that. Men takes an extra couple of years. However, from the moment of conception until about 7 years old, this is wide open. That means that anything it's exposed to goes in without the ability to reject. It can only accept. The other thing that's interesting about this is that not only does it go in without the ability to reject, it goes in without the ability to reason. The conscious mind has the ability to reason. We can critically think with our conscious mind. We can't think at all with our subconscious mind. Now, why is that important? It's important because all of the information, all of the meanings about life and everything that you're exposed to for the first 7 years comes from other people. You don't have the ability to reject it, and you don't have the ability to critically think about it. A matter of fact, until you learn language and you associate words and tones to things and people, you don't even understand that you're being programmed tonally and emotionally until you learn language, right? Think about this. A little baby is born, does not have any language, right? Yet it has to communicate with its mother to get its needs met. And the mother has to begin to understand how that baby's communicating, right? You can't say to the baby, no, you need to learn how to speak before you get your needs met and tell me what you want. The mother has to move down to the understanding of the child, begin to understand what that child needs so that it can fulfill its needs. So a very interesting bond and relationship takes place. This is why human beings will die if they're not physically touched, especially by the mother, but both parents. If there's not physical touch and love within that raising of that child in those early years, it literally physically can kill a child. A child will actually die. And here's the reason why. When we're born, we have three basic human needs. The first one is love. The second one is security/certainty. And the third one is self-esteem. In those very early years, how that child is handled and how the parents deal with that child really says a lot about how that child begins to see itself right from the very early stages. But you have to remember, it starts off with an emotional programming and then turns into a linguistic programming in a couple of years, right? But the balance inside of that child and how they actually view themselves is coming from the person that is raising it. So by the time the child hits about 7 years old, all of the information that they've gotten from the people that surround them literally tell the child how to think about the world that they're exposed to. As the conscious mind begins to take over, we have senses. We have 5 senses. We see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. All of the information in our outside world is being filtered in through our conscious mind. And as it's filtered in, the subconscious mind tells us how to think about what we're experiencing. And how does it do that? It's taking the information that we were told about everything, and that's how we think about those things. So we haven't had any time to critically think about what it is that we're experiencing. It's just an absolute. If mom says this is an egg, right? You don't have any other way of thinking about the fact that this is just an egg. You know what you know because your parents told you what to know. Human beings create meaning to everything. It's not like the first human being, we had a guidebook. Here's all the things in the planet, and here's all the meanings to those things. We created what these things mean, and then we pass it on generationally. So you have this little child here. The parents teach how to think, and then the conscious mind, as it sees its outside world here, that is what we're perceiving. So the conscious mind takes in what we're perceiving, the subconscious mind tells us how to think about it. As we are getting older, what we do not realize is the first basis and the foundation of how we think about everything changes very slowly, if at all. Because we're coming from the standpoint of this is what were originally told these things mean. So as we go through our life, we have this foundation of this is what this means, and usually we reject anything that means different. So much of what we believe about the world that we're in was programmed in our mind when we were kids, and we're suffering for a lot of it as adults because we don't know that it's programming that's causing the problem. So we don't understand how to change it. Hey there, thanks for tuning into this video. I hope you got a lot out of it. But I have a question for you. Are you interested in joining other successful-minded people in a supportive online community full of positivity and growth? If so, check out my free transformation Facebook group. The link will be in the description below. We hope to see you there.